In one of my previous videos, I talked about the reasons why you're not seeing progress in your body, jiu-jitsu, or your relationships. And it all comes down to your thoughts, right? Ultimately, our thoughts lead to our results, right? I've said this many times. Today, I want to talk about the 4 phases of resistance. So one of the reasons why we're in the crap that we're in as a world and as a society today is because men don't make decisions. Decisions are tough. Decisions can be emotional, and many guys live a life of avoidance and they just don't make any decision at all. So the fact, they're making a decision, to not make the decision. And it comes down to these 4 phases. So you're probably stuck in one of these 4 phases, all right? So if you want to take action, if you want to finally stay consistent with your workout, if you want to finally stay consistent to an eating regimen, if you want to finally progress in jiu-jitsu or improve your relationships, you have to understand these 4 phases, how it all works. Phase number 1, you have an experience, and that's usually where everything starts there. You have an experience, and then that experience creates a trigger. That trigger then creates your thoughts, right? You have an experience with something, someone, an event, something happens, your thoughts start to take off. And you begin to tell yourself a story of that experience. Remember, the meaning that we give our thoughts, that's where we have complete control. And so what happens is you begin to head into phase 2 is the story that we begin to tell ourselves. And this story that we begin to tell ourselves about, our truth. Again, remember, there's our truth and then there's the truth. Big difference. And oftentimes the emotions that we have are different from the emotional sensations that we have. Emotions are based in reality. Whatever anger, rage, sadness that you're having, you lose a family member passes away, you should feel grief, sadness, so on and so forth. Those are real, those are based in reality. But then you have another experience and you begin to tell you get angry about someone stands you up, someone is late for a meeting, and then you begin to tell yourself, that person doesn't respect me, no one respects me, blah, 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 blah. We're not telling ourselves a story, we're getting angry, and it's not necessarily based in reality because we don't have any true knowledge that that's true, right? So we begin to tell ourselves a story. That's phase 2. And then based on that story, we develop a belief system, a world view of how we see the world. And it's how we see the world that leads to a lot of our values, of what we value. And, you show me a man's results, or show me his values, and I can often show you his results, right? So if you look at a man's results, we can take a look at his values, and they usually match up. So it creates a world view. And based on that world view, we lead down one of 2 paths. We take this depressed path, where all we can see is the negative, or we take more of what's called the path of ascension, whereas we try to fly above the situation to where we don't have to deal with it. We live a life of avoidance. Okay, there's a third secret path, and that's taking hold of the situation, taking hold of the wound, and using that to move beyond. Right, this is the third path. And then based on that worldview, based on that belief system, we begin to have internal resistance. We have internal resistance towards the workout routine, towards staying consistent with jiu-jitsu, following the eating, program or nutrition program that your coach put together for you, spending more time with your family, like all those things. We begin to have this internal resistance. But it all starts with that experience. So take a moment. If you feel stuck, if you don't know why you can't take action on something, if you notice that you've been living a life of indecision, a life of avoidance, you don't know why, like no matter what you try, you just don't know why you can't do the things you should be doing, take a look at those 4 phases and see where you're at. If you're stuck in internal resistance, it's likely because you have some kind of worldview, some kind of belief about yourself. Because here's an interesting thing. It's the belief that we have about ourselves and of the world. That belief creates a problem. And here's a crazy thing. The belief that we have about ourselves creates the problem, and it's also the belief about yourself that keeps you from solving the problem. Okay? I'm a loser, and because I'm a loser, I do these things. And because I'm doing these things, I feel like a loser, right? I'm out of shape, so I feel like a loser. I'm fat, I'm overweight, I feel like a loser. And because of that, it just creates this vicious cycle, and you can't break it, and you don't know why. Take a look at where you're at in the 4 phases. Starts with an experience. That experience, you begin to have thoughts, you begin to tell yourself a story. Based on that story, you begin to develop a worldview, a belief system about the world, and a belief system about yourself. And it's that belief system that creates the problem that you're currently in. And it's also that belief system that keeps you from solving the exact problem that you're in. Then after that, it leads to internal resistance. And then we create this negative cycle. Okay? So if you want to see progress in your body, your health, your relationships, take a look at where you're at in that 4-step cycle. And let's see how we can break that. If this video helped you out, be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications for more Busy Dad strength tips. And if you want to learn more about how to build a stronger and more capable body in less time so you can do more of what you enjoy, click the link in the description area and download your free 4-week strength program.